with the New York Jets actually favored in this game. I had to double take. Somebody told me they were favored, and I couldn't believe it.
Right here.
If last week had a ton of great matchups for football fans, this week is looking a little bleak, and it starts on Thursday night as the New York Jets host the Denver Broncos in a whopping 40-point over-under with the New York Jets actually favored in this game. I had to double take. Somebody told me they were favored, and I couldn't believe it. But the Jets are favored here in this 40-point over-under. And so, Austin, when we look at the Denver situation, what's piquing your interest from that higher-level view?
Well, it's easy to be sarcastic when it comes to this game. It's easy to make fun of a lot of these players that are going on, but I have to remind the audience, any given Sunday, these are professional athletes, and there is no or Thursday or Monday or Tuesday, given the COVID world that's going on. Yeah. Any given week, any one of these NFL players can play really good football. These are all professionals, so I wouldn't sell this game short. And we've got new players that we're looking at with Brett Rypien, who's going to be stepping in because of the injuries. Melvin Gordon should still be leading the way as Philip Lindsay's getting right. We've got Jeudy, the rookie, who's now going to be leading the way with Cortland Sutton and his shoulder injury. And then Noah Fant, who has been a breakout tight end candidate, done really well in the early starts to the season. So there's a lot of young talent that I'm excited to watch here, especially on the pass catching side of the ball, specifically with Noah Fant and Jeudy. And hey, let's see what Rypien can make happen. It's an opportunity for somebody to step up and become a household name.
Johnny, how confident are you in Brett Rypien to get some of these guys going?
Not very confident. He came in at the end of the game on Sunday and he looked decent. He completed the vast majority of his throws, but at that time, the game is kind of in hand. Also, he's a new quarterback coming in. So I don't take a whole lot of water or put a whole lot of weight into what we saw in that game. This team, the Jets, will be prepared for this quarterback. And to be honest with you, I think this is going to be an ugly game. I give Austin props for saying, you got to give credit where it's due. These guys are professionals, and I do. They are professional athletes. But, man, this is not much to get exciting here. You're starting Melvin Gordon as a flex option at best. You don't really like too much after that. And then I think you can throw out all these wide receivers as wide receiver threes or flex options. Even Tim Patrick, you look at what he's been able to have a TD connection with whatever quarterback is throwing the ball. So if you have to take a dart throw on him, not a bad option there, but the guy I would like the most or has the most upside for me on this side is not Jeudy. It would be KJ Hamler, who's seeing 6.5 yards per target, but he's getting 13 yards per reception, which means he gets the ball in his hands and then he does work. He creates space and does magical things. So I like that aspect of it. And Noah Fant, you're just smashing, dude. This is a for sure start.
Yeah, like I was just going to bring up the fact that if New York's number 13 against the run, they're number 32 against the pass. So this would be the way to attack them. Do you agree with Johnny that it's KJ Hamler, the one you're having the most confidence starting of those three wide receivers?
Yeah, it's not about the confidence, right? It's more about the upside that's there. And KJ Hamler, we know his ADOT's going to be up there. Lower percentage plays, which doesn't give me the most confidence, especially with a third string quarterback in play. So I don't think he has the most upside this week or even next week, at least until Drew Lock gets back. But I would take the shot on KJ Hamler over Tim Patrick, who's averaging less than 1 yard per route run. He's just a volume play at this point because this wide receiver core is so banged up. But KJ Hamler is definitely the guy with the most upside.
Austin, when we look to the home team, the New York Jets on the side of the ball, they are the favorites here. But for fantasy football purposes, is there anything you could be that's piques your eye here?
Anything here that piques my eye, the man asks. Well, we know that opportunity is king, and I expect Frank Gore to be getting a lot of opportunity. But like somebody brought up last week, the man hasn't. The man averages about as many yards per carry as age that he is. He's 37. He gets like 3.7 yards per carry, if that. I think that's going to keep going. We've got Braxton Berrios leading the way at the wide receiver position, given the injuries we're dealing with in Crowder and Perine. Chris Herndon should be the one that we'd be looking towards, but under this Adam Gase system, it's been real dink and dunk, and nobody's getting unleashed. And I'm really trying to put a positive spin on this outlook here, and Adam Gase makes it difficult.
Well, Johnny, Austin's not very confident in anything going on here, but there is a situation that we have to talk about, Braxton Berrios, and maybe Jamison Crowder if he can get back here. What is your confidence level in starting either of these? Because I would think the rest of the Jets offense is a complete fade for us.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, if Crowder can give it a go, I'm still. If he becomes a wide receiver 3 for sure, or a flex option, because we've seen Sam Darnold has to throw to somebody, but you're not confident in it. Like, you're not excited to get someone like that in your lineup. But Braxton Berrios has been the guy that Sam Darnold has been looking for. He's been he's seen 12 targets over the last 2 games. Played the vast majority of the snaps, so he is I just don't see the high upside with any of these players, unfortunately, and that's why I tend to stay away. But for a deep stash, I do want to mention before we move on, because there's not a lot in this game, but a deep stash, one of those like, hey, just stick him on your bench because it's a Thursday night game, would be LaMichael Perine. He actually saw a very close amount of carries as Frank Gore, and we already know what Frank Gore is. We've seen it. Most coaching staff would say, hey, let's get the rookie in there to see what he can do before you get Le'Veon Bell back. But again, Adam Gase is the head coach of the Jets, and I have no idea how he still has a job, so we'll see how that goes.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Whisperers podcast. You can hear more from John and Travis on Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at TF Whisperers.